Seasons are changing all over the world, and moving to a new country on the opposite hemisphere reminds you that everybody's normal is a bit different. Back on my homeland, spring has sprung, and where I call home, leaves are now falling to the ground. I feel lucky as spring and autumn are my two favorite seasons, and I get to experience them both within a month's time as we are headed to visit friends and family in the northern hemisphere in a little over a week or so. Lately, we've been in the vegetable garden and around the cottage, planting new veggies for the new season, and also caring for our home. We are finishing up with a bathroom renovation that has been a long, drawn-out process, but it's just about finished up before we head overseas. Today I am working on one of our garden beds that is ready for more sprouts and more planting. It's our back right bed that produced some beautiful cabbage for us this season, but we've harvested it all so far, and we will be planting more cabbage and leafy greens here so that when we get back into the country, we will have some beautiful leafy greens and cabbage to eat. First off, I'm making sure to remove any weeds that may have popped up recently. There are minimal weeds in our garden beds as we've been using the no-dig garden method, which definitely helps to keep the weeds at bay. I will be sharing a video, I'm working on it currently, about how to do the no-dig garden method, so definitely keep a lookout for that. Our garden beds have been so abundant while using this method, and I can't wait to share it with you guys. What I've done is I have moved this mulch aside because I always want to make sure that I have clean soil without mulch all over the top, although mulch is important after we've planted the seedlings. So I go in, I move aside the mulch, and of course this is if I already have a garden bed that's I'm just kind of turning over and adding new sprouts in, because if this was a new garden bed I probably wouldn't even have mulch in and I would have more weeding to do. But I have hydrated the soil underneath the mulch, so moved the mulch, then I'm grabbing some water and I'm going in and I am making sure that there is a lot of water to this underneath soil. Then I'm going to be putting my sprouts into the soil, making sure that they have enough room to thrive, depending on what plant it is. So I'm going to be putting some cabbage here, and so I'm going to want to give them some extra space. And then I'll go in after I've planted and I'll add more mulch around the area that I have planted the seedlings, because the mulch helps to lock in the moisture of the soil. So as you can see, I've added mulch again to these areas that I originally moved the mulch from to plant them.
Compost killer over here, Wilson.
Mr. Wilson.
Mr. Wilson.
What am I going to do with you in this compost? He likes leeks.
He likes onions and leeks. Look, she's coming home.
lose my garden scissors all the time, so these will have to do. But I am cutting this Swiss chard to keep inside because I really love adding spinach to my smoothies, but we have so much Swiss chard right now. And we've run out of spinach, so I'm gonna do Swiss chard so that I can use some of this beautiful leafy green up because we have tons of it and it's just thriving. I mean, look at that color. It's so beautiful. As you guys can see on the to-do list, one of the things on the to-do list, because there's a long to-do list, is to finish painting the garage area, garage shed, because for some reason, wow, this is like a whole new plant down here. This is just loving life over here. The previous owner didn't paint the back of the garage, just the front of it. So we're gonna finish that job pretty soon, but it's not high on the priority list at this time, so we'll get there. But this should do for now. Look at that beauty. Here is the Swiss chard that I need to compact down a little bit more to be able to fit the lid on this container. But I just washed it and then I chopped it up, and then it'll live in this container of homegrown Swiss chard to be thrown into smoothies or salads to use as we please. Here is our fridge drawer of fresh veg. It brings me a lot of joy, this drawer. These are all tomatoes that are homegrown, so we're gonna grab a bunch of these tonight because we're gonna be doing an eggplant parmesan with homemade marinara, so these will come in handy. We have lots of them, so it'll be nice to use them. And then we've got these peppers that are homegrown, this cabbage and eggplant here, and then these cucumbers, these Brussels sprouts we got from the market, but the squash is homegrown as well, so lots of beautiful colors. And so I'm gonna grab some of these tomatoes out right now. As well, we do have a bunch in the freezer that we preserved. What we did to preserve them was just cut them into little circles like this and then put them in a little sealed situation so that they can be ready for us in the middle of the winter. But these are perfect for the eggplant parmesan tonight. Moments like this is when you realize why growing food is so much fun and it is just so worth it. I just cut up this cabbage that I'm gonna be using to nourish myself for like a late lunch right now while we make dinner. We're gonna be bringing dinner over to our neighbors and they're gonna be making something as well. And we are starting the homemade marinara. So these are all of our homegrown tomatoes, and then we are going to start the process of getting the skins off of these tomatoes. The first step to our homemade marinara is to flash boil the tomatoes. So you throw them in the boiling hot water and then you throw them into a bucket with ice and water, and then you can remove the skin just like so, and it comes off super easy. That's the first step, is just removing the skin, which is pretty much the hardest step, because then after that it's pretty easy. You just crush it and then you add all of your herbs and spices however you want it to taste. But see how easy it comes off once you've allowed it to boil for a little bit, and then throw it into the ice. And you don't need it to boil for too long. I'd say probably 60 seconds or something like that, and then you pull them out. And then we've got this pan ready to go. So then we put the tomatoes in this pan with some olive oil, let it roast for a bit, add some garlic, some spices to your liking. A lot of people think that you need to use Roma tomatoes for a homemade marinara. We have been using these heirloom tomatoes, no problem, and it tastes amazing. I I'm adding some oregano into the mix. We grabbed some basil from the garden as well, and then we'll add some salt and pepper and some garlic. This is the lineup for the eggplant parm. We do a dip in eggs, a dip in flour, and then a dip in olive oil. So it's a little fry situation. And then we've got the marinara sizzling away. So once we do the fried eggplant, then it goes in, then the marinara, then the parm, you know the deal. So here we go. We've got them sizzling, and then we add a layer of the eggplant in the pan, and then marinara goes over. And then parm. They went in the oven.
Yeah, so final step for your yummy eggplant parmesan bake is to put it into the oven. I do 200 degrees Celsius, around 425 Fahrenheit for about 20 minutes, and then I take off the covering, the tin foil, and I just let that brown up the cheese for 5 more minutes, and then it's good to go. You can serve it immediately. We're gonna put it into a little, just cover it up again and take it to dinner tonight with our neighbors. So enjoy.
All right, my friends, I just got very quickly cozy ready. I love this little like waffle sweater. And the eggplant parm is finished. It looks delish. We're gonna bring it over to our neighbor's house. Oh my God, look at this cheesy goodness. Yum. This looks so good.